Done.
Done.
Dunce.
Dunce.
The dunce of the class.
Dunce's cap.
Dunce's cap.
Dundee cake.
Dundee cake.
Dune.
Dune.
Dune bashing. Dune bashing. Dune bashing.
Dune buggy.
Dune buggy.
Dung.
Dung.
Dungarees.
Dungarees. Dungarees.
Dungeon.
Dungeon.
Dunk.
Dunk.
Jill dunked her ginger biscuit in her tea.
I dunked my head under the water and scrubbed at my hair. I dunked my head under the water and scrubbed at my hair.
The Dunkirk spirit.
Dunkirk spirit.
Dunno.
Dunno. Do you want to come? I don't know. I might.
Duo.
Duo.
The comedy duo Reeves and Mortimer. Duodenum.
Duodenum.
A duodenal ulcer.
Dupe.
Dupe.
Consumers are being duped into buying faulty electronic goods. Consumers are being duped into buying faulty electronic goods. Duplex.
Duplex.
Duplicate.
Duplicate.
New copies of the form can be duplicated from a master copy.
The video was duplicated illegally.
We don't want staff to duplicate each other's work. We don't want staff to duplicate each other's work.
A duplicate copy should be made for the county record office.
A duplicate key.
Locksmiths can make duplicates of most keys.
She kept both the duplicate and the original. She kept both the duplicate and the original.
Copies of the proposal should be sent in duplicate. Duplicity.
Duplicity.
Durable.
Durable.
Wood is a durable material.
His poetry has proved durable.
Duration.
Duration.
The course is of 3 years' duration. The package includes cycle hire for the duration of your holiday. The package includes cycle hire for the duration of your holiday.
Duress.
The confession was obtained under duress. The confession was obtained under duress.
Durex.
Durex.
During.
During.
During the summer, she worked as a lifeguard.
He slept calmly during the early part of the night.
Foxes remain hidden during the day. My father was killed during the war.
I mentioned the subject during our discussions at her Washington office.
Durst.
Durst.
Dusk.
Dusk.
The streetlights go on at dusk.
Dusky.
Dusky.
The room was filled with dusky shadows.
A dusky pink room.
Dust.
Dust.
All the furniture was covered in dust. A thick layer of dust.
There's not a speck of dust in the kitchen.
Her old trophies were collecting dust on the shelves.
Dust particles floated in the sunlight.
A sudden breeze sent motes of dust dancing in the air. The wind was blowing dust and leaves up from the ground.
A car sped past in a cloud of dust.
I need to give the sitting room a dust.
Rachel dusted the books and the bookshelves.
I was dusting in the bedroom when the phone rang.
He got to his feet and dusted his knees.
Corbett dusted himself down and walked off.
Dust the biscuits with icing sugar.
They were dusting off leaves and twigs.
He got to his feet and dusted himself off. He got to his feet and dusted himself off.
The government is dusting off schemes for supporting creative industries. The government is dusting off schemes for supporting creative industries. Dustbin.
Dustbin.
Dustbin man.
Dustbin man.
Dust bowl. The dust bowl.
Dust bunny.
Dust bunny.
Dust cart.
Dust cover.
Dust cover.
Duster.
Duster.
Dust jacket.
Dust jacket.
Dustman.
Dustman.
Dustpan.
Dustpan.
Have you got a dustpan and brush?
Dust sheet.
Dust sheet.
Dust storm.
Dust storm.
Dust up.
Dust up.
Dusty.
Dusty.
Adrian cycled along the dusty road.
Everything's really dusty.
The curtains had faded to a dusty pink. The curtains had faded to a dusty pink.
Dutch.
Dutch.
Dutch auction.
Dutch auction.
Dutch barn.
Dutch barn.
Dutch cap.
Dutch cap.
Dutch courage.
Dutch courage.
Dutch elm disease.
Dutch elm disease.
Dutchman.
Dutchman.
If that ball was out, then I'm a Dutchman. If that ball was out, then I'm a Dutchman.
Dutch oven.
Dutch oven.
Dutch woman.
Dutch woman.
Dutiable.
Dutiable.
Dutiful.
Dutiful.
A dutiful son.
Dutiful applause greeted his speech. Dutiful applause greeted his speech.
Dutifully.
I dutifully wrote down every word.
Duty.
Duty.
I promise I will do my duty.
We feel it is our duty to help her. Local authorities have a duty to keep the streets clean.
You have a duty to your husband and to your children.
She has a strong sense of moral duty.
The unions have failed in their duty to female workers.
In the traditional Hindu family, the son is duty-bound to look after his mother. Martin's duties included cleaning the cars.
She works for her father, doing part-time secretarial duties.
He will soon be fit enough to carry out his duties. He can only do light duties.
When Juliet reported for duty, she was sent to check on a new patient. A teacher may be fired for neglect of duty. He did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam.
He's on night duty.
Mary goes on duty tonight at 10:30.
What time do you go off duty?
The duty on cigarettes.
The living room also does duty as a home office.
Duty-free.
Duty-free.
Duty-free cigarettes.
The duty-free shop.
Duvet.
Duvet.
Duvet day. Duvet day.
DVD.
DVD.
A DVD player. The film is now out on video and DVD.
DVD-ROM.
DVD-ROM.
The DVLA.
The DVLA.
DVT.
DVT.
Dwarf.
Dwarf.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
A dwarf conifer.
The cathedral is dwarfed by the surrounding skyscrapers.
Dweeb.
Dweeb.
Dwell.
Dwell.
They dwelt in the forest. That is not a subject I want to dwell on.
Dweller.
Dweller.
City dwellers suffer higher pollution levels.
Dwelling.
Dwelling.
Dwelling house.
Dwelt.
Dwelt.
DWI.
DWI.
Dwindle.
Dwindle.
The elephant population is dwindling.
His money had dwindled away.
The stream has dwindled to a trickle.
Dwindling resources. Dye.
Dye.
Hair dye. Priscilla's hair was dyed jet black.
Dyed in the wool.
Dyed in the wool.
Even dyed-in-the-wool traditionalists were impressed by the changes.
Dying.
Dying.
Chandler's goal was in the dying minutes of the game. Chandler's goal was in the dying minutes of the game.
It was her dying wish to have a simple burial.
He regretted the decision to his dying day.
Women who enjoy baking are a dying breed.
A hospice for the dying. Dyke.
Dyke.
Dynamic.
Dynamic.
Dynamic and ambitious people.
A dynamic and unstable process.
The dynamics of the family.
He did research on group dynamics and leadership styles. He did research on group dynamics and leadership styles.
She regards class conflict as a central dynamic of historical change. She regards class conflict as a central dynamic of historical change. Dynamism.
Dynamism.
Her entrepreneurial dynamism.
Dynamite.
Dynamite.
A dynamite blast.
If the proposals became public, they would be dynamite.
The band is dynamite.
Dynamo.
Dynamo.
Bicycle lights powered by a dynamo. The team's midfield dynamo. The team's midfield dynamo.
Oil is the dynamo of the country's economy.
Dynasty.
Dynasty.
The Habsburg dynasty ruled in Austria from 1278 to 1918. The Rothschild banking dynasty. The Rothschild banking dynasty.
Due.
Due.
Do you know what I mean?
Dyscalculia. Dyscalculia.
Dysentery.
Dysentery.
Dysfunctional.
Dysfunctional.
Dysfunctional family relationships.
Dyslexia.
Dyslexia.
2 of the children in the class are dyslexic.
Dyspepsia.
Dyspepsia.
Dyspeptic.
Dyspeptic.
Dyspraxia.
Dystopia.
Dystopia.
Dystrophy.
Dystrophy.
E.
E.
E. E.
E-shopping. E-commerce.
Each.
Each.
She had a bottle in each hand. Grill the fish for 5 minutes on each side.
Each member of the team is given a particular job to do.
We each have our own skills.
When the children arrive, you give them each a balloon.
There are 4 bedrooms, each with its own shower and WC.
The tickets cost £20 each.
You get 2 cookies each.
I'm going to ask each of you to speak for 3 minutes.
There are 250 blocks of stone and each one weighs a ton. A disease that affects about 10 million people each year.
These are issues that affect each and every one of us.
Firemen face dangerous situations each and every day.
I'd have chosen something more modern myself, but each to his own.
Each other.
Each other.
Susan and Robert kissed each other passionately.
The girls looked at each other.
They enjoy each other's company.
Each way.
Each way.
A £10 each way bet.
Eager.
Eager.
I was eager to get back to work as soon as possible.
He's a bright kid and eager to learn.
She's a very hard worker and very eager to please.
A crowd of eager young students were already waiting outside. A crowd of eager young students were already waiting outside.
Fans eager for a glimpse of the singer. Fans eager for a glimpse of the singer.
They're eagerly awaiting the big day. They're eagerly awaiting the big day.
People were pushing each other out of the way in their eagerness to get to the front. People were pushing each other out of the way in their eagerness to get to the front. People were pushing each other out of the way in their eagerness to get to the front. Eagle. Eagle.
They carried on working under the eagle eye of the owner.
Eaglet.
Eaglet.
E-A-L.
E-A-L.
Ealing comedy.
Ealing comedy.
Ian.
Ian.
Keynesian economics.
E-A-P.
EAP.
Ear.
Ear. She tucked her hair behind her ears.
A long-eared rabbit.
An ear of corn.
She came out of his office, beaming from ear to ear. She came out of his office, beaming from ear to ear.
The news eventually reached the ears of the king.
It sounds odd to the ears of an ordinary English speaker. It sounds odd to the ears of an ordinary English speaker.
She has no ear for languages at all.
A good ear for dialogue.
He's always prepared to lend a sympathetic ear.
You can't just close your ears to their warnings.
As soon as I mentioned money, Karen was all ears.
You'd better start working harder or you'll be out on your ear. You'd better start working harder or you'll be out on your ear.
We've got pumpkins coming out of our ears this time of year. We've got pumpkins coming out of our ears this time of year.
I hope you'll keep your eyes and ears open for anything unusual.
I don't know why I tell her anything. It just goes in one ear and out the other.
Behave yourself or I'll give you a thick ear.
He claimed to have the ear of several top ministers.
Earache.
Earache.
I've got terrible earache and a sore throat.
Ear bashing.
Ear bashing.
Ear bashing.
Earbud.
Earbud.
Ear cuff.
Ear cuff.
Eardrops.
Eardrops.
Eardrum.
Eardrum.
Earful.
Earful.
He gave me a real earful about being late so often.
Earhole.
Earhole.
Earldom.
Earldom.
Earliest.
Earliest.
Work will begin in October at the very earliest.
Earlobe.
Earlobe.
Early.
Early.
The early morning sunshine.
An afternoon in early spring. In the early days, the railways mainly carried goods.
She's in her early 20s.
The recession of the early 1980s. The money could be paid as early as next week.
He spent the early part of his career at St. John's Hospital. He spent the early part of his career at St. John's Hospital.
The experiences of early childhood.
The early works of Shakespeare.
My earliest memories are of fruit trees.
Early signs are encouraging.
The bus was 10 minutes early.
I was a few minutes early for my appointment.
David decided to take early retirement. She drank herself into an early grave.
It's too early to say what will happen.
It's early days yet. I don't want to make any predictions.
Early motor cars had very poor brakes.
Fossil evidence of early man.
I didn't finally get to bed until the early hours.
The attack happened in the early hours of Sunday morning. The attack happened in the early hours of Sunday morning.
We need to make an early start tomorrow.
She's played tennis from a very early age.
I think I'll get an early night.
We arrived early.
They must have come home early.
She went out early in the morning.
He was sent off early in the game.
The building should be finished early next year.
The restaurant opened earlier this month.
We want to start as early as possible.
The disease is easy to treat if diagnosed early.
I realized early on I'd never pass the exam.
We encountered problems early on in the project.
Early doors. Early doors. We were well on top early doors.
Early warning.
Early warning.
Earmark.
Earmark.
85% of foreign aid is earmarked by Congress for specific purposes.
Schools earmarked for closure.
He had been earmarked as a potential leader.
Earmuffs.
Earmuffs.
Earn.
Earn.
He earns nearly £20,000 a year.
You don't earn much money being a nurse.
He did all sorts of jobs to earn a living. I was the only person in the house who was earning. He did all sorts of jobs to earn a living. He did all sorts of jobs to earn a living.
She was earning good money at the bank.
Chris will pay. He's earning a fortune. The movie earned £7 million on its first day.
You could earn a higher rate of interest elsewhere. You could earn a higher rate of interest elsewhere.
I think you've earned a rest.
He soon earned the respect of the players.
He hopes to earn a place in the team.
The company has earned a reputation for reliability. That performance earned her an Oscar as Best Actress.
We older children were expected to earn our keep.
These aircraft are still earning their keep. These aircraft are still earning their keep.
Earner.
Earner. Private childcare is still too expensive for the average earner. Private childcare is still too expensive for the average earner.
He is the only wage earner in the family.
The country's biggest export earner.
Earnest.
Earnest. A rather earnest young man.
Matthews was in earnest conversation with a young girl.
An earnest desire to offer something useful to society. Earnestly discussing politics.
On Monday, your training begins in earnest.
She wasn't sure whether he was in earnest or not.
Although he smiled, Ashley knew he was in deadly earnest.
Earnings.
Earnings. An employee's average weekly earnings.
He claimed compensation for loss of earnings.
The company's earnings have dropped by 5% in the first quarter.
Oil provides 40% of Norway's export earnings. Oil provides 40% of Norway's export earnings.
Earnings related.
An earnings-related pension scheme.
Earphone.
Earphone.
Earpiece.
Earpiece.
Earplug.
Earplug.
Earring.
Earring.
She was wearing a pair of beautiful diamond earrings.
Earset.
Earset.
Earshot.
Earshot.
Everyone within earshot soon knew her opinion of Reggie. Everyone within earshot soon knew her opinion of Reggie. I waited for her to get out of earshot before laughing. I waited for her to get out of earshot before laughing.
Ear-splitting.
Ear-splitting.
There was an ear-splitting crack.
Earth.
Earth.
The planet Earth. The Earth revolves around the Sun. 71% of the Earth's surface is sea.
The origin of life on Earth.
Footprints in the wet earth.
A lump of earth. The earth shook.
They watched the kite fall back to earth.
What on earth did you do that for?
It must have cost the earth.
The most powerful man on earth.
Jesus' time on earth.
She soon brought him back down to earth.
Nothing on earth would have persuaded me to go. There's no reason on earth why you should tell him.
The next morning I felt like nothing on earth.
Make sure that the machine is properly earthed.